You can advertise your business on Night Dreams Talk Radio, and you will be heard worldwide. Why not contact us at nightdreamstalkradio@gmail.com.
Do you have a paranormal story you want to share on Night Dreams Talk Radio? You could be a guest. Email us at nightdreamstalkradio@gmail.com.
Night Dreams Talk Radio Network brings you the World Paranormal News with James Creechbaum. Now, the latest news.
I'm James Creechbaum with the Paranormal and World Changes News. Europe is launching a suicide robot to hug space trash out of orbit. Yes, the ESA's new four-armed garbage-collecting robot is on a mission to clean up the atmosphere or die trying. It's going to get, supposedly, its mission is to go out and clean up some of the space junk that has been floating out in space for, well, last 50-plus years. And there's over 1 million-plus objects just floating around waiting to drop to Earth. And they all could be very dangerous. So hopefully that works out very well. Also, a thylacine hunter plans to spend 2 years in the bush. Now, this man is preparing to spend 2 years living in the Australian bush in an effort to capture a live thylacine. It's been rumored for years that it's not extinct, and there's been several sightings throughout the years. And this guy's mission is to go out there on a 2-year jaunt to hopefully find and catch this thylacine, and if so, we can protect it, and that would be great. Also, 2 earthquakes detected near Old Faithful Geyser on Saturday and Sunday. And, of course, anytime that happens, there's always fear that that may trigger the supervolcano. Hopefully that's not going to happen anytime soon. Also, Ripley's power loader from Aliens is now real. There's the Guardian XO is a fully working powered exosuit that enables the wearer to lift and move heavy loads or objects. It's like having bionic armor on your arms and legs. It can make you run faster, pick up heavier objects. That's the thing of the future, supposedly, especially with the military. Also, the U.S. military is reportedly testing underwater bullets. Now, the normal bullet, obviously, it slows down dramatically when shot in the water, but they have come up with a new bullet that, it doesn't slow down so significantly in the water. And according to the new bullet, it's going to be much more efficient underwater. That's another military item. Also, scientists have discovered a whale which is possibly 25 years older than America. Now, this whale, they assuming it's roughly about 268 years old. It's an old whale, and it was found with a harpoon in it that was 200 years old. So this whale has been swimming around with a 200-year-old harpoon in it for roughly, 200 years or more. Now, it doesn't mean that somebody after that used an antique harpoon. I guess that's possible, but I don't think so. Anyway, the next news break, top of the hour.
Good evening or morning, depending on your time zone. From the Pacific to the Atlantic to you worldwide. Get yourself a cup of Java and find a comfy, easy chair. And get ready for Gary and his guest on Night Dreams Talk Radio, After Dark. And now, here's Gary.
And here I am, and we're talking with George. Now, George, do you have any more stories of ghost hunting? What is the scariest one that you have ever encountered?
Oh, gosh. Well, you know what? There's so many, and, it all has all of them are scary, but, one of the stories I do have would have to be inside, again, the Amador Courthouse and Jail. And that is in Jackson, California. Jackson seems to be just the heartbeat of the paranormal. There's so much activity there. But, we were doing an investigation down in this Amador Courthouse and Jail late at night. There's a group of us, maybe 5 or 6, and we're just going through this old courthouse. This has been around for, I don't know, maybe I could be off a little bit, maybe 90 years or so, and there's these jail cells. And we were investigating this one night, and, there's a bunch of us. We're all scared, and I'm scared. It's real pitch dark, and there's absolutely no way you can see in front of you. And we're downstairs in the lower bottom in these jail cells, and, all of us are just like, we all get scared. And the next thing you know, we're asking all these questions, nothing's happening, and my wife, and it happened to all of us, but we're at the very bottom of this jail cell, pitch dark, and all of a sudden we're all just like hanging on to each other. We're all just like grabbing each other's shirts because it just felt so scary. The next thing you know, the story is kind of, scary, but at the same time it's humorous at the same time. But, all of a sudden, this thing started crawling at us, very low. This creeping paranormal ghost, if I may, was creeping. All of a sudden, you hear, first it was my wife screaming, bloody murder. Then I see it, and I'm screaming bloody murder. And then everybody sees it, and we all start running upstairs, just freaking out. And, it was just one of those things where to this day, we don't know what it was. It wasn't an animal. It was actually a black mist. And this black mist in the courthouse in Amador County was one of the most scariest things I've ever ran into, because it was something it was already dark inside here. We already couldn't see each other. And then we saw something that was in the dark that was already dark. It was just, you just saw it crawling away or crawling through us or in front of us. It was right there. That one to me just sticks out. And again, it's one of those situations where, we've been to, cemeteries, you go to cemeteries, and, I stay away from cemeteries now, but, when it comes to paranormal investigating, it's always, and I'll be the first, people may say they don't get scared, but, the stories I have, unless you're there, it's really hard to understand how scary it really is. I mean, you just got to be ready. It's just, if you say you don't scream like a girl, I'd be lying, because I do. I get scared. And it doesn't matter how long you've been doing it, or if you're first day doing it, or you're in it for 10 years. It's still scary, But, I've had stuff even in my own house, with, we've been in my own, we've been at this house for 3 years now, but the house prior, we were investigating our own home. And I remember that, my wife and I were investigating, my kids were home upstairs, and we would see, now picture this in your own house, and you're thinking you're safe at all times. We saw little girls that were not little girls. They were ghosts. And I don't know exactly the story anymore, but to see something in your own house and not knowing who the heck they are, it's one of those situations, the unknown is like, oh my God, ghosts are real, or oh my God, what do we do from this, and, it was, there's the stories I have, or unless you go, it's really hard to try to put you there with me, if that makes any sense, because it's every story is different. It may not be scary to you, but it may be scary to me.
That is so interesting because, again, how about, I'm going to go to people that do ghost hunting again as a hobby, or are they asking for attachments? Are they asking for a lot of ill grief? Because some of these people, they just, tomorrow, let's form a group. They never been ghost hunting in their life. And besides, you know what? Like me and James have talked about a lot, is you can go out into a building, and if you don't have the owner's permission, you don't know what condition that building is. You could be checking it out and fall through the floor. I mean, there's a lot of risks when you go out and ghost hunt. I mean,
oh, absolutely.
Advice to these people. I always tell people they should, find a group that's been established for a few years, tag along if they'll let you, and learn as much as you can. Just don't go out and start doing it on your own.
Well, you hit it right on the point. Being a paranormal investigator, you got to take it that something can happen to anybody, anytime in the investigation. I do recommend, and I apologize for going offline a little bit here, talking about, investigating and stuff, but, safety is huge. If you know you're going to investigate someplace at nighttime, go to it during the day. find out what is around. Find out if there is potholes. Find out anything. Find out if there's a weak floor. Because anything can happen to anybody at any minute. I mean, you have to remember, as you know, most of these buildings are old. They're not really kept up to date. There is no codes anymore. And people they investigate. And the best thing to do if they're going to start doing it is find out a good team. Do research on it. Find out who's involved. I do believe when it comes to paranormal investigators, if you're going to join a team, I do believe, my opinion is this, is you have to remember there's people you've never met before. You've never met them. You don't know from Joe to John to Billy to whomever. You don't know what their past is about. I do believe when it comes to paranormal teams or whatever, I do believe that there should be, my opinion is, that background checks on people. You don't know, and it's because you're in a dark area. And if you're a young lady or a man, whoever you want to choose to be, or what you are, anything can happen to you. Especially with ladies these days. You ladies, they're stronger than us men. Let's be honest. It is a woman's world out there, and but I'll tell you, the women are the ones that should be more. They should look into more research about investigating with people you don't know, because anything can happen. You could be in a dark, hotel or wherever you choose to go to investigate, and anything happens to you. We don't know who you're investigating with. I do believe that there should be background checks on people. You never know, and do your research on people. Do your research on teams. Do your research. Anything can happen. It's better to be safe than sorry.
Oh, yeah, you hit it right, because my friend James Krischbaum told me a story that he went out in the woods one time, and he saw this fire going. He saw this goat chained up to a table, and these people were walking around, chanting around this fire. And, that is, if you're out there by yourself, and you're really risking, you could be chained up next to that goat.
Yeah, you know what? Yeah, either that or, where I'm from, we probably look for cows, do some cow tipping. I mean, it's just, that would be pretty scary, man. There's a place out here called the Byron Hotel, which is, again, you got to get permission to go out there. But, it's a scary situation out here in where I'm at. It's no more than 15 miles away, if that, maybe 10 miles away. And they do, now, please don't take this wrong. People do, I don't know what it's called, but it's kind of like witchcraft, which I believe in witches, and I believe in witchcraft, et cetera. I believe in aliens, I believe in Bigfoot. When you're a paranormal investigator, you believe in everything. You have to. You have to have an open mind on anything and everything. And I'll tell you, there's a building out there that, I don't like going there alone because I don't know what's out there. They've found cows and that have been burned, and there's places on the land of who knows, 100 acres. And people, they take lives out there. What I mean by that is they're doing these rituals out there, and you don't know what people are into. So, for what James ran into, yeah, it's out there. I wouldn't go by myself with James. No, I wouldn't go out there. I wouldn't go anywhere out there by myself. It's pretty scary.
Yeah, see, I rubbed it into you, James.
Yeah, well, there's more to this story. That was almost 30 years ago, and I was a little bit younger and dumber. It still is just as stupid, but yeah, my buddy, I said, hey, because I'd go by myself. That's another no. I'd always go by myself, but you shouldn't do that either. But I said, what do you got for me? This was on the East Coast. Matter of fact, it was close to where the Conjuring house is, out in that woods is actually where it was.
Oh, wow.
But I didn't know that back then. Nobody really knew much about that, so that's where it was. But so I'm crawling up, make a story short. I'm out there about midnight, and I'm,